Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new Wretched Inferno EP from November 6th, 2020, called Fester. Wretched Inferno were formed in 2018 in Andover, Massachusetts. According to the Bandcamp, they, quote, deliver old-school bone-snapping riffs to bring order to the death metal community once again. With only 4 songs, they leave no survivors with their groovy but sharp approach to death metal. Take a listen yourself and watch as your IQ points drop not to that of a caveman, but of an ape. Reject humanity, embrace monke, and listen to Wretched Inferno, which is very based. The band consists of Colin Buchanan on bass and vocals, Will Robinson on drums and vocals, and TJ Chisholm on guitars. And apparently they're all under 18, I think, as well. We know Colin's 16 and Will is 17, which is crazy, because I remember dreaming of forming a band when I was that age. And when I tried, we had 2 rehearsals and then broke up. So the fact that they were able to release anything in the first place is super impressive on its own. They released their first EP back in November, so let's see how it is. Alright, so the first track is called Devouring Innards, and the first thing you notice is how good it sounds. Because I don't know how they did it. They must have some actual studio equipment or something, because everything sounds really, really good quality-wise. Everything's mixed really well, and you can hear everything, and it sounds like something you would get in a professional studio. And that was what I noticed at first, was just the sound quality. So you'll also notice right off the bat, there's some great guitar tone. It's heavy and it's chunky with a really nice low end. And the drums sound great, save for a somewhat clicky bass drum, double bass, little bit. It's not terrible, but they could get a little more beef on the bass drum itself. As for vocals, Colin has these great ear-piercing high growls that he does, and he'll layer them on top of his low growl, and that sounds super sick. That's probably the highlight of his vocal performance, is when he does that. This first song is mostly monke riffs, which is totally fine. Colin's low growls don't really go as low as I normally would have liked, but and they can be a little muffled in the mix. His pronunciation isn't as good on his lows as well. His pronunciation is better on his mids and high growls, and I almost wish he would use his highs more, at least based off of this first track. But overall, it is surprisingly really solid. So the second track is called Necrobirth. It features some fast chugs at the start, and Colin will use his high growls for a few lines, and this sounds really good. It's almost like he was listening to what I said in the first track, because he does use his highs more throughout the second, third, and fourth tracks. You can also make out more of the lyrics during the section too, because he's using his high growls and his pronunciation is better. And you can actually sort of follow along. It's not just blunt, brutal death metal style lows. There's some trend picked riffs over a mid growl section, And then there's some fat half-note riffs, which are really, really nice. Colin drops a blech, and then the drums will sound huge at this point, but it doesn't really overpower the guitars. It's just a really heavy section. And then after that, there's some more monke riffs, and a sort of chaotic section where the guitars are a little below the drums, but the drums are still like overpowering and very heavy. And then that finishes off the song. This is a better track, I think, than the first one. Overall, there's just more dynamics and more variation in the riffs and stuff. The third track, manipulative parasitism. Yeah, manipulative parasitism it starts off with a fast riff at the beginning that's repeated a few times. There's this guitar lead, then there's a monke riff with some mid growls on top that sound really good with better pronunciation than Colin's lows. There's some high growls after that with a spooky trem riff on top, and there's you can tell that there's a lot more. There's good variation in the song with different riffs and stuff coming in. I would like to hear more from the sort of guitar lead solo thing that they do. It repeats a little too much, and I would like to hear more. Well, you sort of just have to decide with that whether you want to go for a chaotic, like a messy, chaotic, scary sort of solo, or you want to go for like a melodic lead style thing. And this felt like it was a little in between there, and it didn't really do much for me. After that, though, there's a chuggy part that repeats before a faster riff takes over. There's another blech, and then Colin will use his gorgeous high growls at the end of the song. And overall, it's a good song. I think the only real weak part was the guitar lead solo thing that I kind of just wish you would do more with, because it is a cool idea, but I think it drags a little bit. The last track, Fester, has a chaotic riff with low growls on top. More vocal layering, which is really nice. Colin also adds some fun rhythm to his vocals, and I would like to hear more highs and low and layered stuff. I think he sits on his low growl for a little too long on this track. There's another fat riff with and then some more vocal layering, which is pretty much exactly what I was hoping for. And then there's another spooky guitar solo thing that I kind of wish was a little more varied. Like, it still seems like he's being a little safe with his guitar solo. Like, if you're going to play a melodic lead, I think it needs to be more interesting than what you've done. And if you're going to play a guitar solo, I think you just need to add more notes and try and fill up the space a little bit. And then after that, there's some more low growls and chaotic riffs. The drums still sound great. And however, towards the end, you could probably use some more rhythmic variation in the vocals. Well, and then at the end, the same spooky guitar lead comes in, and I kind of wish it was just a little more varied again. But overall, it's not a bad track by any means. It's a little on the weak side, but it's not anything terrible. Alright, so in conclusion, this is really impressive. Everything sounds great. The performances are good. The writing could be a little better, but it's still definitely quality. Most of my issues with the EP overall are pretty nitpicky and largely down to my personal preference. This is old school death metal, and it's not brutal death metal, so it's definitely more straightforward. It's not groundbreaking by any means, and it's not trying to be. I mean, this is headbanging death metal for people who like death metal. So if you don't like death metal, you probably won't like this, but if you do, you definitely will like this, and that's exactly what it's trying to accomplish. I know they have a full length in the works, and I'm very excited for that. Go ahead and listen to these guys, support these kiddos because they're awesome and they're doing something fucking sick. Anyways, yeah, thank you all for watching. Check this out. I'll have links in the description. And go follow them on Twitter. Fucking buy their stuff on Bandcamp, all that shit. And yeah, see you guys later.